We are going to dive right into the afternoon session, so please take a seat. Before we begin though, if you'll remember, we had a door prize available. The first 33 some people who came to the conference, the true early birds of today. Now I'm going to read off your name, and if you are one of the lucky birds, then you are going to head over to Xanthi over there, and you get to pick out a prize. Okay, so we are going to begin with David Abbott. And once I call your name, just head right up there. Mar Armstrong, Bridget Belhumer, and I butchered your name. I am so sorry. Ella Belaungi, Ethan Benson, Brooke Benz, Ava Berger, Bella Biederman, Kate Duffy, Ashton Edwards, Alien Flores, Hayden Frazier, June Gesslin, Cameron Glotman.
All right. Now you guys might all remember the very exciting baby drone raffle. So Chippewa Falls High School. We'll do that now.
Right. Want to pick it? You can pick it. Okay, I'm picking one. Okay. The winner is. Should I say the number? No.
No, just say the name.
Okay. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Jayla Bracken from Phillips Memorial High School.
All right, so with that out of the way, this afternoon we're going to hear an inspirational talk from our keynote speaker, Marinel Ubaldo. We'll then have 2 sessions, so you'll have the chance to attend 2 of our 4 fascinating workshops. They will help you get involved, connect you with the resources you need to create a change in our community. Our workshops are as follows. 1, a toolkit for climate action. 2, be a disruptor. 3, let's lead inspiring your local government to climate action. And 4, make the environment your career. After all of those workshops, we'll then reconvene for an open mic session where we'll hear from none other than the county executive, Joe Parisi. Amazing. After that, you'll all have the chance to tell us what's on your mind. You can share any thoughts that you've had about the conference. You can also share any goals that you have for yourself in your community, in your schools, etc., or anything else. So feel free to start thinking about what you want to say, and we cannot wait for you. It's going to be a scrumptious afternoon, everyone. So let's kick it off with the second keynote. Akanksha, take it away.
Thanks, Krishna. I'm honored to introduce you all to Marinel Ubaldo, a founder of the Youth Leaders for Environmental Action Federation, an organization that mentors young climate activists. After surviving a super typhoon as a teenager, she shares her story around the globe, talking about the realities of climate change and urging world leaders to uphold their climate commitments. She spoke at the International Climate Conference COP21 in Paris and COP25 in Madrid. She is currently pursuing her master's degree in environmental management at Duke University in North Carolina. Welcome, Marinel.
And to introduce her, we're also going to be playing a quick video. So please hold while I set that up and hope it works this time.
Just a girl from a remote area in the Philippines, and I don't have any power. And I wasn't expecting that people would be interested in my story. I was 16 years old, and that moment I realized that the place that I called paradise, the place that I called a safe haven, I found my vulnerability. And from that vulnerability, it urges me to do something that I don't want to feel, just to feel like a victim. Typhoon Haiyan happened November 2013. It was the strongest typhoon ever recorded in the history. The wind was like a whistle coming from the core of the earth. The water was already high and it was coming to our evacuation center. We didn't know what the storm surge was. We didn't expect that it would be that disastrous, that it would be that monstrous. I saw a woman carrying a child, and when she got up from the water, the child wasn't there anymore. It was it was like a moment of silence, like we were crying. So I went to our house to see if our house was still there, and I cried when I saw that um we do not have our house anymore. My childhood stopped during Haiyan because after that it was everything just changed. I needed to be mature. I needed to survive on my own. I needed to support myself. I know now what's the purpose of my life. I felt that I will fight whatever happens for the future.
Depuis 2 ans, elle est devenue l'ambassadrice de son pays vulnérable au typhon.
The president of France invited me to talk during the first day of COP21 in Paris. Actually, I felt empowered because I didn't expect that the leaders would really listen to my story. You should never underestimate your power to make a change, even though you're only one. I am the founder of Youth Leaders Environmental Action Federation. We're the first organization who organized the climate strike in Tacloban last May 24, and we have again participated September 2019 in the global climate strike. We have just concluded the climate strike here in Tacloban. We have successfully submitted the petition to our city councilor, Amy Greffiel. Next week, they will have the first hearing for the resolution to make Tacloban plastic free and declare climate emergency in Tacloban. Climate change is now a human right issue because the basic rights of people are being deprived, like the right to eat, the right to survive, the right to education. Our school was washed out; it was destroyed after Tipunayan, so we weren't able to go to school. I cannot say that we have already recovered now, almost 6 years after Haiyan. I have this fire in me to do something, to continue what I am doing, because you don't know what impact you are creating. You don't know that because of what you are doing, there are so many people are motivated to do the same as what you're doing. So every step, every individual action counts. Every individual action is important because that is where it starts to a bigger movement.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Um, After that video, wow, it also surprised me. It was like a long time ago since we had that video, and I'm now here in the US, and I was like, I think 18 years old when that video came on, or something like that. And now seeing myself there again is kind of like, anyway, there's a lot of feelings to it. But thank you so much for having me today. So I stand before you not as someone born into privilege or prominence, but as a daughter of a fisherman from a small community, coastal community in the island of Salcedo. My journey to becoming a global climate activist is one that was not planned or expected. I was just an ordinary teenager going to high school when Super Typhoon Haiyan, known as Yolanda in the Philippines, changed the course of my life forever. I grew up in Matarinaw, a coastal community in the Philippines facing the Pacific Ocean. I witnessed the harsh realities of living in a vulnerable area prone to climatic disasters. My father, a fisherman, struggled to provide for our family, and life was far from easy. But it wasn't until Super Typhoon Haiyan struck in 2013 that the devastating impacts of climate change became painfully clear to me. 3 days ago, we just celebrated the 10th year since Super Typhoon Haiyan took away thousands of our lives in our province. I can't help but remember that night of November 8th, 2013. As the winds intensified, my family sought a refuge in an evacuation center, only to witness the destruction unfold. Our house, like many others, was reduced to a fraction of its structure, and the storm surge claimed lives in our village. In the aftermath, isolated and without resources, I faced the harsh reality of the present moment and the uncertain future that awaited us. Despite the hardships, I found a way to channel my grief and frustration into action. At the age of 15, I became a child facilitator, educating communities and schools about the causes and effects of climate change. The experience opened my eyes to the urgent need for climate action, and I realized that I had a voice that could make a difference. That turning point came in 2015 when, as a young advocate, I attended an international camp in Germany. This experience led to the creation of the hashtag 2065 Year Future campaign, where thousands of youth from around the world contributed drawings representing their vision of the future. This initiative culminated in presenting these drawings to the Minister of Environment in Germany, amplifying our collective voice on the global stage. Later that year, I was invited to speak at the opening of COP21 in Paris, as you have seen in the video, sharing my story as a survivor of Super Typhoon Haiyan and a youth advocate. The response was overwhelming, and it became clear to me that raising one's voice, no matter how remote the origin, can resonate globally. But let me be honest with you. The path of an activist is not an easy one. Loneliness, stress, financial struggles, moments of doubt, and the fear for the safety of fellow activists are part of the journey. I have faced moments of darkness and uncertainty. I have been red tagged by my own government, torn between familial responsibility and my commitment to the planet. Yet, I did not quit when it got hard. I found my voice and I continue to use it for my climate action and for climate justice. My journey didn't stop at COP21, from speaking at the public hearing on climate justice and liability in New York City, to obtaining my license as a social worker in the Philippines, to pursuing my master's degree now in environmental management at Duke University. I have strived to intertwine personal growth with advocacy. In 2019, we won the landmark climate justice petition against 47 carbon majors, like the fossil fuel companies. We asked the Commission on Human Rights in the Philippines to investigate 47 carbon majors for their human rights contribution linked to climate impacts. This is after Richard Heady, an economist, whose research found out that there are just 100 companies that are responsible for the 72% of the world's carbon emission, and 47 of that company exist in the Philippines. So we sued them. We sued the 47 companies. And in 2019, in COP25 in Madrid, we won. And that was after 7 years of battling with the carbon majors. In 2019, again, I was able to gather 600,000 signature for my little writing campaign that enabled my government to give a dignified relocation houses to the survivors of Super Typhoon Haiyan. This is after they have red tagged me at first. This is after they have tagged me as a terrorist at first. And then there are thousands of people who sent a letter to Malacanang, to the president's palace, and told them that we need the survivors of Super Typhoon Haiyan need a dignified relocation houses in Tacloban and in Eastern Samar. And then they made action. However, the urgency of the climate crisis, persists. The inaction of governments worldwide, including the Philippines, poses a threat to the future I envision. I stand before you with a plea. We have just 6 years to halt the rapid changes in climate. The responsibility not only lies with the government, but with individuals like you and me. First world countries with the resources, with your resources, can play a crucial role in mitigating climate change. Your choices matter. And this is something that we don't have in the Philippines. We don't have the luxury of choice. From reducing single plastic use to embracing renewable energies and advocating for stronger climate laws. This year, I've been leading a global campaign on making rich polluters pay with three more climate activists around the world. And we're collecting signatures for now. We have almost 343,000 signature and we need you to reach our goal. We are planning to hand in this petition to global leaders at COP28 in Dubai. COP, or the UNFCCC COP, is the World Leaders Conference being held annually in different countries where world leaders gather together to provide solution to the climate crisis and to the issue of climate change, not just climate change, but biodiversity, a lot of environmental issues. And you can find the petition in my page. I can also give that to the host later to provide the website or the link to that petition. The recent environmental crisis, as we have seen from the Amazon fires to the plight of environmental defenders in the Philippines, have weighed heavy on my heart. But amidst the challenges, I implore you not to lose hope. Each one of you has the power to affect change, and we have been seeing a lot of your incredible work today. We have the power to be a force for good in the world. Remember, you don't need to be born into wealth or fame to make a difference. Like, look at me, a girl from a remote community in a small island in the Pacific. Find that one thing that drives you. Pour your heart and passion into it, and don't underestimate your power to make a change in this world. The future depends on your decision. So join me, join us, and let's make a difference together. Thank you.
Hey everyone, we'll be taking questions. If anyone has any, feel free to raise your hand and Marinel can answer them.
Any questions? We'll be ready. Just raise your hand up high if you have any.
What repercussions did you face after your government called you a terrorist for protesting?
So when you are being red tagged in the Philippines, the police and the military survey you. So like they go to your community, ask about your whereabouts, and ask about your family's whereabouts. I was in Tacloban at that time. I just graduated college, and at that time, I was feeling proud because I thought like, oh, so a small girl can intimidate our government and they're being threatened by me. And I was like, nice. But when they actually went after my family, that was the time that I needed to go into a safe house and make sure that my name will be cleared out from the terrorist list. Because what they did is that before they tagged me, there were five activists in the Philippines that they've planted guns in their things, and then they were arrested. And some, before coming here to the U.S. last year in February, I lost two of my activist friends because they were killed when they were doing their activism with the indigenous peoples in the Philippines. So those are the repercussions when you're speaking up in the Philippines. We are not that country where it's safe to voice your own opinion, especially if it's against the government.
Thank you. That was really powerful. Any questions?
My question is, what made you keep pushing after all of that? I know that was probably terrifying. What made you keep going throughout all of that struggle?
Thank you. As I said earlier, it's not easy to stay being or to become a climate activist. It's not easy to even continue your advocacy. Sometimes, you know what, there are more disappointments than wins. But I would say I always go back to my why I even started in this fight. Why am I still here? And my why is to protect my community and my family. I am living in a coastal community. So in 50 years, it is predicted that our island will not be in the map anymore. So that means that my children will not see where I came from, and we will not know our culture and tradition. And my family will just migrate. And we know that climate migration is a great thing, but it's not yet recognized by the UN. So that makes these people more vulnerable because they are not protected when they migrate. So that's my why. I really don't want to be a victim throughout my life. I don't see myself sitting in our house and doing nothing. I am fueled by by the experience that I had, and I told this to Carl Phelps and Andrew before, that my ultimate dream was to be able to sleep at night when there is a typhoon, because in the Philippines, when there is a typhoon, we have to go to the mountains. We have to knock at our neighbor's door just to let us in for the night. So we will not, so we will survive the typhoon. Um, and I don't want to go. I refuse that is my way of life. I refuse that will be the way of life for my children in the future.
Hello. Hi. Um, my question is, how has it been pursuing your master's degree in environmental management, and how has that helped you be a better climate activist?
I feel like when I was thinking of going back to school, I was very I was losing hope. I was in a point where I was so tired of speaking in big conferences. I was tired that these, leaders are just inviting me to speak in big conferences to tell a sad story. I want to be where the decision is being made. And for me, in my mind, the way that I'll be reaching that goal is to educate myself more and to give more credibility that whatever I'm saying is true, and I can back that up with science and math. That is why now I'm focusing on environmental economics and policy, because I want to learn more about the policies, not just here in the US but internationally, and how we can use them to really advance our advocacies. I could say that it really helped me. It really helped me think about how we can compromise more. As an activist, I was really hard on. I don't want to talk to corporation businesses that are doing a lot of human rights violations, or that are doing a lot of environmental that are having a lot of environmental issues. I don't want to give them space. I don't want to talk to them. But through my degree, I found out that we will not be able to solve the climate crisis if we just point fingers to everyone. But we have to work together, even if sometimes it's so hard to work with our government, especially if they're not listening to us. But they have the power, they have the resources, and they have the authority to make change happen. So we don't have a choice but to work with them. So we don't burn bridges, we build bridges. So our key messages will be brought into action and will be brought into reality, or else we will just be shouting on street, and then in 20 years nothing's happening still.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind me asking, what would your message be to just in back? What would your message be to people, especially younger folks, who don't think politics is the place that they should be concerned? What would you say to people who feel like they shouldn't get involved?
I would always say that if you everything is political. um every even even if we are negotiating with our parents on the things that we want, that's politics. So we should not avoid that. We should make that as a strength. We should maximize that because that's where really, that's where, we need systemic change too, aside from our individual action. That's where change is happening. We have to work with our leaders. We have to make sure that we vote first. And we have to make sure that we influence others to vote for the right leaders um, that will be on our side, on the planet side, and on the people side, because we need people-centered policies and laws, and we shouldn't I agree. We should make sure that we make our leaders accountable. And by working with them, it doesn't mean we're siding with them. We are not. We are working with them because we need to, but that doesn't mean that we can't make them accountable. I think she was questioned earlier. So this global campaign is with Oxfam International. I can send that to the organizers so that can be sent to all the participants around here. We have 343,000 signatures already, and we need more signatures so we can hand it to the world leaders at COP28 in Dubai. That would really mean a lot to us. Thank you.
My question would be around a little bit more focus on the community. What were some of the challenges or pushback you got from the community members in terms of trying to get them to get connected, educated, and really passionate and get behind pretty much the goals that you're trying to reach and with the work that you're doing?
First, the communities don't have the time to be at symposiums like this. They have, in the Philippines, a lot of families are living in a day-to-day life. So it's really hard for me at least, or for other community mobilizers, to demand for their time to advocate with us, because then their family would suffer. They will not have food for the next meal. That is one. They care for the cause, but they don't have time to do it. Second is the fear. If you're in the Philippines, it's not easy to say something about the government. It's either you're thinking about your safety or you're thinking about your family. And if you have a lot of that fear, it really, it is impeding your action. As for me, I felt that way. I felt like, why am I even here if my family are threatened already? If my family is not here, what's the purpose of my cause? And that's the fear of a lot of people in the Philippines, that they will just take whatever is given to them because they sometimes feel powerless. So for me, it's really empowering them that they have human rights as well, and they can exercise that human rights, and giving that support to them, that whatever would happen, we will still be a collective, we will still be together. And we are not doing this to make people at risk, but we're doing this for the future and for the future of our children.
So here we have a group of like-minded people understand this issue and so on. Do you have any suggestions for reaching out to folks who are not on the same page that we're on? How do we get those people educated and helping us move forward?
I think what really helped me as well and my peers, um, is not is to avoid the concept that I want to educate them. Because when you say I want to educate you, people feel defensive. You just you talk about climate change as if it's normal. It's normal to talk about climate change. It's normal to talk about glacier melting. It's normal to talk about communities are sinking. It's normal to talk about traditions are vanishing, that cultures are vanishing around the world, because these things are facts. They are not myth. They are not something that we should avoid, but this is something that we should talk about even in our daily conversation with people, even in our dinner or people that we share meals with. um and I think that's really it. I don't like go to people and say like, do you know what's climate change? Because that for me it has been counterproductive, at least for me. um and if people are closed, their minds are closed with this topic, don't put too much of your energy, because you too will be discouraged. And we need your energy to put into something that is more productive. And if these people would see that other people are doing, so many of their people, family members, community members are doing something for climate change, then they will also get curious. They will also feel that they're being left out of the conversation, so they will join. um, I think targeting those people who are not really, who don't want to be educated and who are not in this space, can sometimes be counterproductive. So I always, at least this worked with me and this worked with the network that I'm in, is to make the conversation as light as possible, make the conversation as normal as possible. Like we're just, gossiping about something or talking about something, which is, these gossips are facts. So these gossips are happening actually. And as we are talking now, people are losing their lives and their communities in the other side of the world. People are at risk, and that's a fact. And that is not just something that we should be avoiding. Um, yeah.
Thank you for being Thank you for being here. You're inspiring. Um, could you talk about how you built your network? Kind of your story about from the beginning.
I built my network through going to a lot of events and being active in our community, being active in our school, and really just showing up means a lot. You don't like, for me, I underestimated this before, but just showing up really can change the way how I think about things and how I think about people. Because when you show up, you build connection, you build friendship. I don't think I will still be here if I don't have the community in the Philippines that gives me support whenever I feel down, whenever I feel disappointed. So those are your network. And they don't mean to be, it doesn't mean that they will be like my best friend. They are people that I've acquainted with, that I've talked with, and they are now my network. And sharing all the resources that I have, sharing the opportunities that I have, making sure that I'm there whenever they need me, and they're there whenever I need them. That is something that I think has worked for me, at least. Um, but yeah, anyway, to answer your question is to show up, to go to this kind of events, to attend different events in your community, in your school, in your city, and just to be there. Because when you're there, you're building your network, you're knowing a lot of people, you're understanding that there are different kind of stories and there are different realities and there are different whys of people. And for me, it inspired me to show up more because I want to know more the whys of people.
Do you have any advice on how we can reach out to our local government and have our voices heard?
Yes, and that is to do a petition, which I think you're already doing. Sign a petition and then hand it to them. Even if you are not, a petition shouldn't be just those people who started it. If you signed it, that is your petition also. So if you signed a global petition, you can make a local petition and submit it to your local government. And that is And that makes it collective because it's not just one petition that is going to the world leaders. There's also a petition that is going locally. So if you sign a petition, take ownership of it because that's also your petition. You signed for it and you make sure other people also sign for it. And there's a great power in numbers. And if we show that we are not just here telling you what to do, but we're here wanting to work with you. So this is my petition. This is our petition. Let us know how we can help you take action and how we can help you make these demands a reality. Because I think that partnership is really, really important. And this means that we are not just putting all the burden to our government because we know that our government leaders are already very bombarded with a lot of things, but we're here to help out. And that's what we did in Tacloban. We sat with the council, with the town council, and told them that we are here if you need us. So they provided us provided us with tasks, which is like to research all of these things and to give them a presentation on what we find out from that research. And then the petition started rolling from there because there is a partnership from the petitioner and with the government as well.
I wanted to ask, what were like your first steps to really get into where you are today?
Um, my I started kind of being just a child. I went to different communities. So in the Philippines, there are communities that doesn't have power. There's no Facebook, no TV. People get their information from a local radio. They don't even know what's happening in the world. So we go there, we walk 2 hours to these remote communities with our flip chart. And then when we go there, we have a little candy just to gather the children and the mothers who are like sitting like outside of their houses. We invite them to go into like even just a mango under a mango tree. It doesn't have to be. We didn't make it like as a formal event, but we just inviting them in, and we talk about how was their day, and what do they think about climate change. What are the things that they are experiencing around their surroundings, because these people are farmers or fishermen. They know that there are changes in their environment. They have this intimate relationship with their environment because the environment gives them their livelihood, their food. And so they know that there are changes, but they can't understand why is there a change. They always give this explanation that maybe it's the will of God. But when you talk with them and you tell them that there is a science of this, and we have to laymanize the science, we have to contextualize the science so they can understand it in their own context. And that's where we started. We started simplifying climate science, and we started um, telling the communities that this is why the sea is already in your front yard when it wasn't there before. This is the reason why it is hard to grow crops right now because the weather is already unpredictable. This is the reason why these is changing in your surroundings, and we can let people know that this is a problem so we can adapt and mitigate to it. Because if people don't know that this is a problem, they will not be able to solve it, they will not be able to take action on it. So it's really important that we raise awareness and we contextualize that to the community that we're speaking to.
Thank you so much, Marinel. All right. Now we are going to move on to our workshops and introduce them to you all. So, Krishna.
Thank you so much. One workshop that you can see up there on the top left corner is the Toolkit for Climate Action. At this workshop, featuring students from Evansville High School, you will learn ways to organize, fundraise, and find networks to generate momentum for your climate projects.
Another workshop you can come to, led by Xanthi and I, is the bottom left. It's Let's Lead, Inspiring Your Local Government to Action. We'll have Kathy Kuntz, the director of the Office of Energy and Climate Change from the county. So we'll be speaking on local actions that you can take and how to get your government working on sustainability. So the question that we had on what you can do in your local government is this. This is the workshop that you can learn about that. Thank you.
And if you're interested in learning about how to adopt environmental products and services and to inspire others to do the same, then check out the workshop Be a Disruptor featuring the Vice President of Auger Steel.
And lastly, in the Make the Environment Your Career workshop, you'll learn how to tie sustainability into your career path and find environmental education and career opportunities today and in your future in the form of a Q&A panel in room C2451.
All right. So start thinking about what workshops you want to attend. You'll be able to go to 2 of them. So you'll go to 1 now, and then we'll take a short break, and then at 3 will be the second workshop. And the workshops will be recorded if you don't get a chance to attend some of them.